Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about 3 reasons why you should read. Okay. Um, the first one is you become smarter. Um, you don't only just feel smarter, but you know more. Like naturally, that's just what happens when you read. You absorb information, and when you retain it, and you're able to talk about a book, you know, that is the way you become smarter. It's like you absorb information, you're able to explain it and understand it. So that is one thing that happens, and is actually a good reason why you should read, because the smarter you become, the more you're able to help other people as well. And even just encouraging people to read books is such a good thing, because it's just something that at some point everybody needs to do, because reading is just a part of culture. Like you have to read your bills, learn how to read mail. uh, if you go to school, like you're definitely going to have to read and solve problems. So it's just a part of life at this point, and the more better you're able to do it, the more you could help others, the more you're able to land a better job and stuff like that. The list keeps going on. So I would say, yeah, definitely. When you read, you definitely become smarter. And the second thing is that you evolve. Your brain just evolves. You become sharper. You read faster. You understand faster. It's like kind of like a computer. Like if you think about high processing computers, where if your internet speed is good, it's like that's kind of what your brain becomes, like that search engine that has all of this information available, even like a library. Like it's that's what it is. You have all this information, and you can access it whenever you want. It's something that nobody can ever take away from you, as long as you take care of yourself and um, eat things that help with memory, and also, like, of course, your vitamins and stuff like that. But this is strictly a video about encouraging to read books. And yeah, so your brain is definitely gonna evolve with new ideas, concepts, especially if you're reading more non-fictional books and things that are more about, I guess you could say, like science or um, self-help or psychology, like those sort of things. Even history, very important. But this isn't to say that you can't become more knowledgeable reading stuff like comic books and manga and storybooks and novels. I would still encourage those types of reading, because even if other people don't think there's any practical use of hearing things that um, are simply not real to the real world, there's nothing wrong with entertaining your imagination, which is something that a lot of people um, seem to not engage with as much as an adult. And the thing about imagination is much like art. You know, you just try to understand how something like art just comes naturally to a person who's very talented, and also just admire it. So that's how to describe at least like the bestseller books that I've read about nonfiction. It's like kind of like just admiring art. you know Even if you don't think there's any practical use for just looking at a beautiful piece of art, you can still just admire it. And um, and talking about it with people too is like something that is also fun too. So there's definitely something about non-fictional books, and um, engaging with that part of the brain, was like the imagination, and just like the amount of effort it took to create something like that. So I would say the last thing about reading books is that, like, especially if we're talking about self-help books and wanting to improve and not feeling good about yourself or situations. Um, to me, it was so helpful, personally reading stuff in the Bible or about other people, currently and before, like David Goggins, or reading about Martin Luther King, reading about Malcolm X, or just even like watching films about them, because these are people who struggled with a lot. They may not have been like handicapped people, but these were people who were heavily discriminated against just based on the color of their skin, and still found a way to be successful, have their ideas spoken about, and still influence people to this day. And, um, you know, for from what I know, like they're also readers. They may not be like reading 100 books every year, but that's not the point. You don't need to read that much to just, force yourself to be knowledgeable. It's just acknowledging the fact that at some point in your life, whether you like reading or not, you have to read something. And, it may be just the bills in the mail, but still, like, it's just a part of life. And when you learn to enjoy reading and gathering more information, it helps you evolve as a person and make you understand that, a lot of things you go through in life, like, hasn't been done the first time. Just experiencing life yourself, many people have lived with the same thoughts, and as many people have lived with the same thoughts, and as many people has lived the same thoughts you lived. you know People thought the things you've thought. Some people have, imaginations that nobody could truly fathom, and it's sometimes really like awesome to see that in books, or like if you see paintings and stuff like that. Like, it's just that sort of thing. And also just like the level of work people put into their books and referencing, and that obsession with knowledge and wanting to like experience a new world, a new story, a different era. It's just so many things. So, um yeah, I feel like I could just keep talking about books in this video, but that's sort of the whole point. Enjoy books for what they are. There are many different types of books, and when you find something that you actually like, you will naturally become a good reader. And there's nothing wrong with Audible, in my opinion. I've used Audible a couple of times, but I'd argue to get a physical copy of a book. You won't regret it. And if anything, it's going to develop your reading skills so much more. And you're going to have something to look back to. You can underline main points. You can, tag pages, do all sorts of things. And it's all yours. Like, it's with you forever. So, you can also get ebooks, but like I said, my argument is physical books are better. I know that trees are used to make books and all that, but honestly, when you have a physical book, it's much more easier to access it than anything else, because God forbid your iPad or your computer just decides to not work someday, and then you lose that information and that archive of books. So, when you have a book, it's yours, and it's really hard to get rid of it unless you're deliberately trying to. So, that's all I got for this video. I hope you find a good book to read. And if you like this sort of content, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.